Man, it's it's occurred to me that people are more focused on Kamala Harris's race than they are with her policies, than they are with whether or not she's the right candidate, right, for the position. Um, and a part of me understands why, but that part of me also understands that it's still relatively stupid, to be completely honest with you. People pretend as if it's illegal to be mixed. People pretend as if, you know, being mixed is a bad thing, right? People pretend as if you can't be one and the other as well. The whole concept of race, it's really, I saw this video that race is a social construct, right? And the guy went further along to say we're just different shades of rice, right? Um, and when you really look into it, what really is race? And why is it so important to everybody? I'm not going to say I'm going to sit up here and act like I endorse this candidate or that candidate, right? Based on anything. This isn't me being in support or not being in support of Kamala. But there are some things about Kamala that I do like. I'm going to be completely honest with you, right? But let's start with the obvious. Number one, Kamala Harris's last name is Harris. That just so happens to be my last name. That was my father's last name. That was my grandfather's last name, my great grandfather's last name. It is also my daughter's last name. Right? Also, something else that we have in common. Our roots are in the island of Jamaica. Right? Now, for the most part, the Harrises that I know in Jamaica, right, are mostly black. For the most part. Obviously, with colonialism and all sorts of other stuff, these Harrises may have been mixed with Irish, maybe British, all of that other sort of stuff, right? And to be fair, my grandfather was a very light-skinned black man, okay? There may have been some sort of mixture up there, but we don't entirely know what it is. But people make it as if, her race is the most important thing. Like, why are we so focused on her race? What race she is? Why are we not focused on the most important things? What is more important? How she runs the country, the things she does for the people of the country, or is the most important thing the race of the candidate? Because that seems to be the theme. That's what everybody's focused on. Oh, no, she can't do the job because of her race. Oh, no, she can't do the job because of this or because of that. It has to be said that people are focusing on the things that don't matter at all. We should focus on her views and her actions. Thank you so much, Eric Cantu. We should be focusing on her views. We should be focusing on the things that are most important. Whatever candidate you decide to vote for, right? Hold on, I want to turn this car off. I don't know if the speaker is going to be interfering or anything like that. But the fact of the matter is this. We need to be focusing on her policies. We need to be focusing on, is she the right candidate for the country? Going forward, all right, so for me, my last name is also Harris. Again, my last name is Harris. We both have roots in Jamaica, right? My daughter's last name is Harris. So for me, when I look at this will be something that would inspire my daughter. Like, wow, there's a Harris, a person with a name just like me, and she's a woman just like me. This is what my daughter would be saying, right? And she is the leader of the highest, she is the leader of the best country in the world. She is the leader of the most economically sound country in the world, right? They trusted her to be in the highest position in the world. So for me, obviously there's some sentimental value there. But still, even still, is she the best candidate? That's definitely something that I have to sit down and ponder as well, because that's not enough, right? So I'm not going to just give out my vote to somebody just based on those things. It still has to come back to what is she the right candidate? Is she the right person to lead the country going forward? Hey, DJ Scoot, big up yourself, man. DJ Scoot, I'm glad that you voting, man. DJ Scoot, I gotta big you up because you are a big time supporter of this channel, man, and I really appreciate you. And whatever it is that you're going through, man, you know, you could always, I'm down to whatever advice I could provide for you, man, because I really do appreciate your support. Thank you so much, DJ Scoot. Big up yourself. Eric Cantu said, I do not relate or agree with her, but I think people bringing her race into the story is just wrong. And then Gina Friesen says, I have Harris, yet too many of names had been stolen. Dawes role. I'm not entirely sure what you mean, Gina. Please elaborate on what it is that you mean when you say that. But again, right? I don't want to make this just about her name and just about the fact that we both have the same last name in common and we both have roots in the same country, right? But for the most part, when I look at all my family members that have the last name Harris, Jamaica ain't that big, right? Harris is a very popular last name, but Jamaica ain't that big, right? So when I look at most of the people that I know that have the last name Harris in Jamaica, that, you know what I mean? They are mostly of African descent, right? And Jamaica, first of all, Jamaica is it's a melting pot of different races. 97% of Jamaicans are a mixture of African and also European ancestry. No matter how dark they look, no matter how whatever it is, right? 97%. That's a crazy number. Right? So chances are, if you're talking to somebody that's Jamaican, they're mixed with both African and European ancestry, right? And we could also trace some of our roots back to the indigenous people in Jamaica as well, especially if you come from the Maroon tribe or you have family ties to the Maroon tribe, like some of my family members are, right? On my grandmother's side, for sure. Let's see what else these people are saying. Yes, bro. Where are you from? So my family is from Jamaica. Right? We're from Jamaica. We're from a place mostly called Clarendon and St. Anne. So we're mostly from the middle. And my mom was actually born in Manchester. So most of my family is from the middle of the island. St. Elizabeth, right? St. Catherine, Clarendon, St. Anne. The smack dab in the middle of the island. Right? My last name, again, Harris, just like Kamala Harris. Last name is Harris. So take it from somebody who has the same last name, whose family comes from the same place as Kamala Harris's family comes from, right? Most of the people that I do know with that last name are not Indian, right? And that last name, Harris, doesn't come from Africa either, right? That last name, Harris, definitely comes from England and Ireland and all of that sort of stuff, which, again, 97% of Jamaicans are of African and also European ancestry, right? Regardless of how black we are, regardless of how, you know, how our features are very, quote unquote, dominant or whatever it is, there's still that aspect of things as well. It's okay for people to be mixed. It's a melting pot of mixtures of people. I don't know if you guys open your eyes and look outside to see how many people that are walking around. They're still human beings that have background in multiple different continents, multiple different groups of people. And it's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. If that wasn't meant to be how we were supposed to interact with one another as human beings, it would have not been, we would not be able to have children with one another. Right? Let me read some of these comments. Well, at least you're not that Indian girl being bounced all over the place on YouTube Live. Many took our name to fit in. Okay. Gina, I'm guessing you're also a Harris as well. Yes, bro. Where are you from? I explained that her dad was half white and half Indian. I'm not entirely sure, Mr. McCoby. That's not entirely accurate at all. Her dad is not half white and half Indian. You're listening to what Judge Joe Brown said, which is completely inaccurate. Her dad is not half white and half Indian. I assure you that. Her dad is not half white and half Indian. But even if her dad was half white and half Indian, that still should not be the focal point. And again, judging from somebody whose last name is Harris, again, I'm qualified to speak on this because my last name is Harris and our family roots are in the Caribbean, in the same island, right? So I'm more qualified to speak on this, right? Not to say anyone else can't speak on this as well and have their opinions, but coming from somebody from the Harris family, right, with the same last name, whose family is from the same island, right? I think my word has more weight in this than other people's word has, right? So, and I know I'm speaking kind of loud. I know I'm a little bit passionate about this, but the big part of me is that people are not focusing on the things that really, 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 really matter. People want to focus on race. People want to focus on what you look like. People don't want to focus on your policies. And we wonder why the country is going the way that it's going. I'm not going to vote for you because, oh, you know, you're dressing all black. I'm not going to vote for you because you have a Twitter account. I'm not going to vote for you because your mom is from India. Because we don't know what the race of your dad is. You understand how stupid that's... And I'm never really this animated. Most of the people who watch my live streams know that I'm really never really this animated. I'm kind of a little amped up because I had a lot of coffee today and also had some lunch just now. So I got a little extra energy that I kind of want to burn off. And I figured this is the perfect subject for me to kind of talk about because her race does not matter as much as her policies matter. Her race should not matter at all. But we're making her race the most important thing. Look, all right, DJ School said, look, personally, I don't agree with Trump. But at the same time, I'm convinced I feel like our country is falling apart. It always feels like our country is falling apart during an election year for sure, DJ Scoot. I will co-sign that because it feels like we're so divided, right? As human beings having this spiritual beings having this human experience, we get so divided by things in the third dimension, right? In 3D. We get so divided by things that don't matter as much as we want them to matter. What's Kamala Harris doing? How is she leading our country into a new era, into a new age? Little girls are going to grow up thinking, man, I could become the president of the United States. Little black girls, little white girls, little Indian girls, girls across the world are going to grow up knowing that they have what it takes to become. And I'm for that, right? And this isn't me saying that. Well, first of all, I have a daughter. Again, my daughter's last name is Harris, okay? My daughter's last name is Harris. And her name is not the same as Kamala, but it has similar syllabuses as well, right? So when I see something like that, it's like, wow, I can make that comparison. Hey, Lily, it's not as difficult for me to really motivate my daughter and say, Lily, there's no excuses because look at what it is that she did. And her roots is just like your roots. And her father comes from exactly where your father and your grandfather and your mother and everybody in your family's from. Right? And we're just focused on the wrong thing. If you want to vote for whoever you want to vote for, I do not care. Vote for whoever you want to vote for. But stop focusing on this lady's race so much because her race is not the most important thing. Her race isn't even close to the most important thing. Her father is Hindu and Irish. Her mom is Hindu. Okay. They accepted the YT, not us. You look like a healthy David Lucas. I don't even know who that is, but thank you. Some of mine sent to the Caribbean. Yes. Okay, Gina Friesen. I'm guessing that you're also your last name is also Harris. like mine, like Kamala, like my daughter, like so many people in my family for so long, right? Again, people fail to understand, even Jamaicans that are walking around, we walk around all the time speaking all this black power this, black power that, black this and black that, right? And which I'm all for, because I already know what it is that we've been through as a people, right? But even us as Jamaicans speaking all this black power this and that and the third, we also have white blood in our body as well. Period, point, but let's just call it what it is, right? Again, 97% of Jamaicans are of African and European ancestry, right? And there's also the indigenous Jamaicans that were there before, the maroon, from that mixed up with the Maroon tribe as well, right? So there's also that aspect of things. Mixing is not something new, guys. People coming from multiple races is not something new. People having mixed backgrounds is not something new, right? It's not a new phenomenon. So now they box you into this way of thinking where you feel as if you have to identify as this. And you're so boxed into this little box that you can't think beyond that. Think bigger than race. Think bigger than race. Think about the future of the country. Think about all the other 40, how much ever presidents there have been, and think about what most of them have been. All of them have been men. Most of them have been white men. Let's see if our country goes in a different direction by seeing what a lady can do for the country as well, if we so choose to vote for her. I'm not telling anybody they need to vote for her. I'm not asking anybody to vote for her. As long as you vote and you exercise democracy and you do what you're supposed to do, fine. Completely fine. Right? I'm not telling you which way to vote. But vote. Right? And vote for the right reasons. What do you want to see in the country in the next 10, 15 years? How do you want the country to look? Focus on that. That's what we need to be focused on. How do we want the country to look? How will the country look for our children? How will the country look for our grandchildren? Ask yourself these questions. Sit down and ask yourself these questions. How's the country going to look for my children and my grandchildren if this candidate